so give me a sec. Ay. Can you see my screen? Well, I guess yes.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. So, welcome to the webinar of practical learning. Today we're going to see this part of the team standards so you can apply it to your LC.
Hey.
And hello. So, practical learning is a strategy, we can say, to increase performance by incentivizing members to learn by doing operations and activities on ground. So basically, it means that is learning by doing. Like every process that they're doing or something like that that is in their JD, it's better that they understand it since the very beginning by practicing on it. We're going to see a little bit more about it in just 1 second. So the importance of it is like pretty simple, but at the same time makes a huge importance to it. So, and it makes a lot of impact as well. The importance of having this learning and learning by doing and practical learning strategy is that it helps members understand the processes faster. Why? Because if you teach them, for example, how to sell like 1 month, but they don't practice it like on ground, they will never understand what are the best strategies that suits for them. Like every person is different selling. So if they don't know what is the thing that makes them more comfortable doing, just by theory, it's way better to do it on ground. It as well develop and retain people. And I can say it for my experience. For example, when I get in ISEC, I immediately start to do work. Like of course they give me my induction day, they give me like educational cycles, etc., but like at the very beginning I started to contact EPs, I started to make sure that everything I was learning, I was doing it as well. And then as well facilitates better member performance. Why? Because you're putting them to understand the processes since the very beginning. So you're going to increase your processes way faster. Why? Because, for example, maybe you can start like a little bit slow while they are learning how to do the things. But this learning, it's going to take them way less like harder for them to understanding if they do it since forever. So that's the importance for it. And I'm just going to give you some 3 steps. Is everything cool from this moment?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
Amazing. Thank you. Oh, well, yes, I was forgetting this point. Where you can find the practical learning in the team standards, you can find it in results elevation in the performing stage. So as you can see, we have building, that is team creation, core competence and functional skills, team rules, and then team plan, where you create all of the basis of your team, and then individually. But then it starts to have like the performing phase. That is super important that you know how to track it really, really good, because this, for me, this is the most crucial part of the team standards. Because yes, you can create amazing building, yes, you can create amazing teams, whatever, but if you don't put into practice what you planned, then what's the purpose of doing all of the building phase, for example? And for closing, if you don't have the performing, then like like how you are going to report and how you're going to debrief the results if you don't have like what you aim for. So that's why for me, for example, in this picture, the performing is the one that is like more like visible, it has like a frame, blah blah blah. That's why I'm thinking, so yes, you can find it there. And it's alongside with team working time and team incentive system. Why? Because this is, by the name, is going to elevate your results, because you are going to boost it in different ways. Okay. So now I'm going to tell you some three tips for you to use practical learning. The first one, establish a flow. What does that mean? How is the member is going to learn? By practice, There's like this cool methodology, we can say, that is like, first, I do it and you watch me doing it. Second, I do it and you do it with me. And third, you do it and I watch you doing it. This, for me, it's a really cool way for them to understand it in a way faster way and in a friendly way. Like, you don't put the newbies to call EPs if you didn't teach them first how to do it. So, for example, for calling EPs, here is, you go to a team meeting with your members, and you're going to say, today we're going to do a calling mania, and I'm going to teach you how to call. So you are going to create, for example, a speech for the EPs, for how to call the EPs, and then, like, alongside your team, like, what should I say, what should I ask, what should I do, and if they answer this, what should I answer as well? All of these kind of variations of a call. And then you're going to say, okay, now I'm going to call an EP and you're going to hear me. How am I talking? How is my voice going? The sound of it, like, how am I going to convince that person, blah, 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 all of this kind of stuff, to pay attention to it. And then you're going to say, okay, now it's a turn of someone who wants to participate as well. And then someone else maybe call. And maybe, for example, it can be like a mock call, like they have to call someone else from the LC that is not necessarily an EP, but maybe it can be a really cool way to practice without having like these strong consequences. So first is like a mock call, and then once that they got how to do the call, now it's the time that it's the real call, and you watch how they are doing it. So this is like establish a flow learn base, for example, and it can be really helpful for you and your OGX members, for example. Now, the second part is set and base agenda. What does that mean? Everything, as you know, everything needs to come to a plan, with a plan, I'm sorry. Because for me, if you don't plan it, then it's going to be all messy, and it's going to be like, for me, it's not well thought. And you know that if you love something, then like it has to come with a lot of detail orientation and really, really good base of everything. So to set the base, like to set all topics that your members need to learn, practically, like maybe, for example, the ISEG way or things like that are not necessarily to be taught by learning, like practice by learning. However, like, for example, how to call, how to sell, how to do I don't know, a stand or things like that needs to be practiced. So all of these topics, you are going to put it in a list, and then how it's going to be and when it's going to happen. This is it can help you, for example, to do it in onboarding, because in that part of onboarding is super necessary that everyone starts to practice even before doing the performing phase really, really intense. So I have like some examples here, like the topic is learn how to sell IGB. So how it's going to be when on this day, we're going to go on 3 sales meetings with these NGOs, this, and this. And they're going to see how am I going to like interact with the NGOs and blah blah blah. And then, for example, using this methodology, on the first one, the member is going to see how I sell, and then on the second one, the member is going to sell alongside me, and then on the third one, there he is going to sell all the way, and I'm just going to observe how they did it. So these three sales meetings can help you to that. It can be turned as well, for example, for OGB, how to do like these calling manias, or how to have these, I don't know, like these meetings with the EPs to convince them how to go to another country or something like that. So this methodology, it's always like what, when, and how, you know? The how is this one, okay? So this is the number two. And then we have the third one, that is have a debrief meeting. So after this learning space, like after, for example, having the three sales meetings, or after having like the three calling manias, or all of this kind of stuff, you need to have a debriefing space so you can give like feedback to them, um, and to take the main takeaways, we can say. So to analyze it, and if it's necessary to have another learning space, you are going to do it. So maybe, for example, these debrief meetings can be done for the most shy members, we can say, that takes a little bit more time to get it, or to come out of the shell that they're in, for example, and take out the fear that they have of, I don't know, calling or going to a sales meeting or something like that. That they still need a little bit of more guidance for them to, for yeah, to perform by themselves, you know. So these kind of things is for them to see that you care about them. This is not only because, I don't know, it's mandatory to have it for because it's in the team standards. It's mostly because this means that I care of the learning of my members, and I care how they're developing. Remember, I'm always going to repeat myself. We're selling and we're promising leadership. So if we don't provide it in the correct way, in a quality way, then what's the point of doing all of these things, you know? So yes, overall, this is the three steps of doing practical learning. Another thing that maybe you can use practical learning with is, for example, the LCMs. Like Laura told me, for example, what she was doing in her LC is that she at first was doing the LCM's agenda, and she was inviting the FASIs, etc., etc. However, like she started to involve some members to create it. So maybe, for example, you can have rotating LCM. So every, I don't know, every time that you're having an LCM is a different team that is doing the LCM. So for example, one time is going to be OGX, and then another time is going to be the BPTM, or maybe the other time is going to be like rotating the people that is doing the LCM. But at first you need to teach them how to do it, how to do the agenda, how to present, how to do blah, blah, blah. So you can set all of these first two steps, like how you're going to do the flow of the learning by doing the LCMs, then how you're going to teach them in the calendar, for example. And after it, you're going to see how is it done, and then you are going to do a feedback, you know. Now as well, I'm going to tell you some do's and don'ts for this. The first one, that is do's, it's something that is super, for me, logic to do, is to take people to the field even when they are just learning, you know, like what I told you about the sales meetings. You take them with in the sales meeting so they can see how you're interacting, because yes, what I told you, the only way to learn how to sell is to go selling, you know. Then some don'ts that is super important for me is that don't wait until your members know everything to let them go work on the ground. What I told you is super important. They will never like personalize the things that they're learning if they don't do it by themselves, you know. Like if you teach them a lot of methods of selling or a lot of persuasion tactics or something like that, it's cool to have it in theory, but if they don't apply it, then they won't spice it up. You know what I mean? So yes. Then don't think that education spaces should delay members' working timeline. We learn as we work. That's why we have a really short term periods, like leadership periods. The EVs have 1 year. In your case, it's going to be 6 months, so they need to learn really fast. But normally, EVs have 1 year to apply all of the things that they are planning to. So there's not much time for like 6 months of preparations, and then on the other 6 months we're going to accomplish all of our things. No, like it's super necessary that in the onboarding phase you onboard them, and then like they need to start doing things at the very beginning. It's something super important because they even will notice if they are not doing something interesting. So just make them do things. And the other thing is, don't use education and members who are learning as an excuse for members not performing. And this is for me the most important thing that I need to tell you right now, since you are having a 6 month term. It's nothing, guys. Like, trust me, it's going to pass super fast. And if you don't make like all of the environment possible for them to start performing really fast, then it's not going to be like there's not going to be any results around it. So you have really short time for you to create a lot of things. And for me, I strongly believe that you can do it, because it's not impossible at all. It's not impossible that you recruit your members, that you onboard them quickly and do it everything by like October. It's something that you need to only set your mind to do it and to start doing it with all the passion. You have your VPs, you have your EVs, and then as well, most of you have really cool pipeline of membership. So you already have all of the tools necessary to keep performing. And there's no excuse to use, for example, recruitment, or there's no excuse to keep doing exchange, doing what we promise, while the other people is learning. So, yes. Do you have any questions here?
No, it's good.
No.
No, it's okay. Amazing. So, yes, questions. So, yes, this was a super quick webinar. But I hope that you find it super interesting as me, and I hope that you applied it as well. And yeah, if there's nothing like a comment or something like that, you're free to leave. And thank you so much for coming. Just remember, tomorrow we have another webinar of, I don't remember what, but it's like the next part of the performing phase. And I see you here. Okay, guys?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. And see you as well in LCP Summit.
See you.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye-bye.